What's up, guys? It's Blackin back with some more RA content. Now with part 2 of RAGL In review. This time we have me and Moods. This was the 5th game of 10 in a single day, so I'm definitely starting to get a little bit more warmed up, I would say for sure. Rust is still obviously going to be a factor because playing 5 games in a row isn't really going to change that necessarily, but it is going to get your thought process and fingers all warmed up for that. So we are on Glitter and Goalie. This was a map I made for the map competition, which I think I threw together in about 45 minutes because it didn't look like there was going to be a whole lot of maps. So I said, screw it, I'll make one. And actually like the way that it plays. It did not get played a whole lot this season, which is unfortunate. But it's got a whole lot of starting eco. You got 3 mines on a whole bunch of ore. I think it's like almost 30k. And then you have a gem mine, which is across a broken bridge, so you're gonna have to spend an engineer, or you can move across, which is gonna be a little bit slower since you're gonna ford over that shallow river, and that'll slow down your harvester, but it does protect your gem mine a lot better. It's very easy just to snipe that harvester at the gem mine just because it is so exposed. But once again, I randomly drew allies. No big deal there. I like going with the medic as allies because that $200 usually pays for itself. One safe oil derrick in the back. Just based on where my rifle is going, I'm not super worried about a dog. I think Moods has done dogs and stuff like that before, and if you're gonna send a lone engineer, then it's a really good chance that he's gonna get eaten by a dog. Even if you have a screen like I did with the rifles there, dog has extra vision, so they're gonna be able to sneak past that and go straight for the engineer. But it's fine. I'm setting up here at my middle oil derrick. Want to make sure that I get a nice little stack of infantry before I get pushed in. I start to push in, and Moods has already got rifles there, but he's slowly stringing them in. Starts to pull back, that's fine. I should have defenders adventures there, so I should be alright. And then I push forward a little too far, lose some more rifles. Just pull that medic back, but that's okay. I'm probably, I think, a rifle behind now. I should still have the advantages if I stack well enough, but we'll have to see. It looks like Moods is not in vision of that oil derrick, and then he immediately pushes in, which was just bad timing. I take a pretty good engagement there. I'm going to safely be able to secure that oil derrick now just because he's down on a lot of rifles and I just have a pretty decent concave. Probably should rotate those back rifles to the bottom just a little bit, but Moods tries to go in as soon as he sees me capturing, but I just have enough vision that he dies some more. And then I just decide to push all in, although he does have more rifles than I expected there, but fortunately for me, I have just enough rifles to keep my engineer alive. And I'll have 2 or 3 left afterwards after I cap, and Moods goes in with his last rifle and dies, so a little bit sloppy on my part there. He, barely outlasted that engagement. Same time, I'm going to do my quick tank build. Other 2 standard here, just doing this double ref cell, going for a 3rd ref and then right into the SD, straight into medium tanks. Move out that main MCV past the gem mine this time. I could have just used my engineer and not move my MCV, that probably would have been a little bit quicker on things, but like I said, I wanted to really protect that gem mine just because it's going to allow me to stay there a lot longer than I need to be. And yeah, just getting up my harvesters right now. 3rd one's out, and I don't really have to micro it too much this time just because it is going to a single ore patch. But it is nice to keep it a little bit closer to where I want to be, but I just send it up anyways. I could have waited just a half second more and kept it by the war factory, and that probably would have been a little bit better, but that's fine. Got my 4 harvesters now, and I'm starting to float a little bit, so I can start fully running my infantry queue. Got my first light tank out, 2nd one's coming out, and then I'll have that 3rd ranger, that 1st ranger, 3rd vehicle. And those are going to be really great for scouts. And, I mean, that's basically the whole role, is to kind of scout early. I mean, it can also kind of maybe throw the opponent if they think that I'm doing my light tank rush. You see 2 light tanks at a ranger, then maybe you think there's 5 light tanks, and that probably doesn't change too much, honestly, other than my target selection, I guess. With 5 light tanks, I'm looking more for just straight up crushes, or maybe sniping power plant, where if I have 3 extra medium tanks, I'm just looking to kill your army and then kill you through attrition that way. But move out my MCV just a little bit past the gem mine there, so I can properly crawl. 3 power plants, 3 Raxes in a power plant, and then a ref there. And I'm moving here just to snipe his gem mine, but he doesn't have the ridge repaired, so now I'm just kind of deathballing my army. I'm not super worried about Moods doing something so aggressive that it catches me off guard, although Moods definitely could. But I'm going to go and scout his oil derrick, since I know that he lost a whole lot of rifles in the early beginning. He's probably not defending it. And I see that it's not even captured, so that kind of cues me off that maybe Moods is doing something weird. Just generally, he had a whole lot of rifles, and it's possible that I just killed the oil derrick that he was going to. Maybe I sniped his engineer and missed it, but the lack of like going to the other derrick is a little bit of concern, but that's right. I'm already committed to a death ball right now. I got 2 medium tanks coming, my 2 light tanks, and my ranger's actually out scouting right now. And I see that he's not at his natural double expo yet, so that's fine. I'm just gonna maybe camp there, and if I see an MC coming with his ranger, get my power plant down, start building up some Q boxes, and scout his base. I see an engineer, so you know what, I'll grab that for free. And I don't see any army, so I run my engineer or my ranger up to the top, and eventually I start seeing his rockets right there, and I see him trailing away. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some more rockets, and then I see a bunch of his army, and I'm like, okay, well, that's honestly fine because your main base is completely exposed right now, so I'll just rally some of this back, just in case he does try to counterattack. But I'm gonna have a pretty good engagement here just because I have quite a lot of rockets, and of course, at the perfect timing, he undeploys his MCV. He's a little bit slow on it to actually move it, so that MCV is freely dead. And then I just go in with an assault move there just to kill his power, because there's 3 power plants there. That's probably going to put him low power. And he tries to defend here, but again, I have 2 medium tanks, 2 light tanks, and a bunch of rockets and infantry, and he just does not have enough. They quickly go down. I don't really lose too much of anything. And yeah, gonna kill his war factory now. Now he finally has the rest of his army showing up. And I still got a pretty good number there, so I'm gonna lose this battle, I think, but I can probably trade out a lot of his army to do so. I'm actually having a pretty decent engagement there. Unfortunately, that tank got a little behind on the infantry, so I just pulled it away. Better to save that tank rather than just waste it. And now's about the time where I can probably re-expand again. If I can cut off Moods' expansion, then he'll be pretty dead on the water. And again, I have 4 or 5 heavy or medium tanks, plus this one down on the bottom. He's pulling his army out of position, so I'm gonna get some good snipes on his eco right here too. Granted, you know, there is a lot of eco on the starting map, and like I'm barely now mined out, but you know, I've already killed 2 harvesters, which is a great grab. I'm gonna go and kill that ref, which is gonna help him or slow him down too. Pull some of my infantry back just because there was a pillbox there, and I'm trying not to lose as much as I can. But I do snipe the ref with that last little infantry and rocket detachment up there, and then pull back. So that's gonna definitely hurt him a lot. And I moved out my main MCV just because I couldn't quite reach. That's fine. I'm just gonna deploy that second one back there just in case he's rotating on the bottom. Had to restart my Qs, which is not great, but that's alright too. And now I have a pretty huge army. Unit tank's still alive at the bottom that I kind of forgot about. My engineers still sit in the middle with that extra oil derrick. So being up 3 oil derricks to 1 is actually pretty great. Looks like we had a little lag here. I think yeah, I'm sorry, Master, I had kicked you, and I think it did actually make a difference. So get my 7 Raxes up now, and my medium tank in the bottom is just about to get hit by a bunch of rockets, and I'm going to be able to pull it away, but that's totally fine. And as you can see, I'm moving back again towards his natural expo, expecting him to expand there if he hadn't already. Just because I know I killed his eco on top, so he's either going to be right back in the top or expand again. And I didn't want to go back in the top since that's kind of choky, so I came through the bottom. Get my medium tanks in front because that is a huge problem. If your medium tanks are not in front, then you're not going to do well. And set up secondary army again because I'm just waiting for him to attack anywhere, but so far he hasn't. Haven't even micro harvesters yet, which is kind of why I'm stalling a little bit, even with the gem mine right there. But I should figure that out in just a little bit. And then I hear some Blackhawks, which, you know, that's an interesting transition into Tier 2. And he comes stringing in with a conga line of infantry, but I have quite a lot of tanks, and he does not have any armor right now. So I'm just able to move my tanks in the front. All of his infantry is getting completely obliterated. And yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot much at all. He's trying to pull his infantry back, I guess, into his vision, which is probably a smart idea, but you know, he's losing harvesters, and he can't afford to lose too much harvesters. Still got 2 tanks left, one's about to go down. And just pushing in. There's more Blackhawks, but bad marker on his part. It still goes down. That's not great. But that's alright. I'm already at transition into Tier 2, so Blackhawks weren't too scary for me at all. I'm even going to transition quickly into Tanya just because I know he's behind on infantry value, so if I can just keep him with 0 infantry, then he can't really deal with the tanks, and he can't deal with anything else. He does have Blackhawks, so Tanya would be maybe a little bit of a questionable thing, but I think it's still probably a better play than not having Tanya. Gonna try to repair those tanks, but they decide to go back, and I send them on a better rally point, straight back to the SD. Leave this little infantry corps there just to clean up stuff. You know, if he wants to use Blackhawks, that's fine. I'm not super worried about it. Decide to base push since I have 2 MCVs and AA gun ready. That way, if he does try to use the Blackhawks, I can just instantly drop it, kill a bunch of them, and then that'll put me way ahead. I think that's probably his last defense is Blackhawks and try to get back into there. But once again, I snipe another Blackhawk, which is unfortunate for him. That really shouldn't have happened to, especially unprotected infantry. If this was somebody like Mint, who also decided to take this season off, unfortunately, Mint would have absolutely just wrecked all my rocket soldiers there, and it'd be probably a different game. Tech center's out. Gonna build another barracks just so I have Tanya closer, but Moods is losing so much harvesters right there in that little choke. I'm actually gonna get that last harvester on the way out, and then don't even lose a single medium tank. Moods calls GG. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't have the main base of his scouted, but that quickly shows how scouting is important, because he pretty much lost his main MCV, his war factory, a bunch of power for free, and then by the time his infantry did show up, I probably traded pretty close to even, if not above, just because I had more tanks. So very quick game 5, and we'll jump into game 6. Alright, so we're back here for game 2 against Moods. He picked cow level. I joked that it was my nemesis level just because of how badly I screwed it up last time. But once again, allies spawn. I love to see it. Allies has more fun, I guess, just because the Soviets really only have Grens or flame drops or stuff like that, which, you know, everybody is aware of those, everybody knows those, so they don't work as effective. If you can come up with something more original, like the light tank rush or something like the quick tank rush that I've been doing, that seems to catch people a little bit more off guard because they haven't seen it before. So just gonna go do something a little bit fancy this time. I'm gonna do my light tank rush build against Moods, just because Moods is one of those players where if you get under his skin, he plays absolutely terrible. And I definitely felt like I got under his skin last time with the quick tank build. So a light tank build here with the rush and everything is probably going to be unexpected. Or even if he does expect it, like, he's just not going to play well to it. So he's definitely one of those players that you can just, you know, get under his skin and take it and run with it. Whereas like somebody like Happy or like Have, even if you get under their skin, they still play mostly good. If it's like somebody like Dang Shot, I don't think you can get under his skin, so like stuff like that's not gonna work. But you know, some people do have that like that just interesting little quirks about that, so you have to keep in mind too. I think I'm one of those players too. If you can get under my skin and can tilt me, I'll definitely play terrible. But usually getting under my skin involves me being dumb, unless you're doing something smart. If you do something that's just super smart, like sometimes it will, absolutely. I'm not gonna say I'm immune to it, but it's like most of my saltiness comes from my own play. But I am doing this light tank rush here, so I'm gonna go into straight to a war factory after a ref and a barracks. Only build out a medic and a few rifles, just because I really can't afford too much, and I gotta save a lot of this money for my light tanks. Queue up 5 light tanks, then you queue up 2 harvesters, and then I'll have basically like a war factory first build with 3 Raxes into an SD. But it's going to come out a little bit slower than it normally would with that build, but that's okay, because like I said, I'm trading out early infantry for 5 light tanks and a ranger, which is super hard to deal with. And then also just pausing out that medic so I can queue up a bunch of rifles and rockets. That's just going to help me when I'm busy microing these light tanks, which is going to take all of my attention. I can just let that queue run once I need to, and I won't have to worry about filling it. I mean, that's just a great thing to do at any point in the game when it's slow, just to keep those queues running, keep them on top of your game. Next ref is down. I'm gonna micro out all of the ore next to the gem mine so it starts regrowing, then I don't really care. Keep that bottom harvester microing, try to efficiently as possible. I don't want it to take forever, but you know, I'm only gonna have that one ref down there, so that ref is probably gonna be pretty long on harvesting, but just due to the nature of the build, it's one of the little setbacks there. Being very bold and just sending that engineer out into the middle. I mean, he's done his job. If I can decap that Oderic, that would be really great. Or, you know, maybe if I see him capping and there's a bunch of rocket soldiers there, then I can sidestep him with my light tanks, or maybe just go in for the crush, depending on what I see. But 4th light tank out. This ref is unfortunately a little far away, but you know, it's gonna do its job that it needs to, and that's basically just not have me stalling, because I'm very, very close to stalling. Barely squeaking by 200, 100, and barely back up with a refill. So got my next Rex out, 3 harvesters out. I decided to start all of my rockets and everything. See a bunch of technicians there, which is great for his scouting, seeing my rifle. And unfortunately, he does have some rifles at that Oderic. That's fine. I'm just gonna go straight into his base. And what do I see? Well, I don't see a ref there, so he's a little bit slow behind there. And I see a radar dome, which is kind of crazy. He's only got one light tank out, so this is something weird's going on. I have more than enough light tanks to deal with it. I see a second war factory out, so I should have checked to see if he was France, just to see if he was doing fake stuff. And he is France, and I happen to know now that that power plant was a fake, but I'm not super worried about the power plant or the radar dome. I'm more concerned about these light tanks and stuff like that and killing the power. You know, you can always kill the power, and then that's always going to hurt. Or if I kill a fake structure of like a radar dome or a war factory, then it's whatever. But he's going to try to poke in with these light tanks, and I'm just blocking him off. So he doesn't even have a racks at this rate, which is probably the worst thing that could happen if you see 5 light tanks showing up to your base. So I'm basically going to kill this war factory for free. And then he's going to try to poke in with the rifle on the bottom. Unfortunately, rifles do outrange rangers, so I can't really move that ranger without risking a light tank coming out. But that's fine. I've already screwed up my queue just a little bit since I have been microing, but that's totally cool. I go up there. My light tanks are still in a little idle, but that's fine. Just going to go back in, kill this war factory now, see if it is a real one since that radar dome was fake. I have 10 MCVs queued up. That's alright too. I'm not super worried about that. I think Moose is pretty much dead at this rate. He doesn't have a barracks out. He doesn't have anything coming out of his war factory. And then I finally see a rocket coming up. But that's fine. I'll just move my ranger and kill the rocket. And then I have 5 light tanks still. So second rocket comes out and gets killed by the ranger. Moose comes in with his ranger, which I guess it was out there capturing the Orthodox this entire time. Kill the power plants because that'll slow him down again. And he tries to capture my MCV, but I have my whole army there, so that's not going to work. Pillbox is poorly placed. I just instantly move my light tanks away. Kill the engineer. The ranger is going to get away, but now Moods has no power again, and he just goes ahead and GG's out after he calls me a fucker. But yeah, Moods just Moods got Moods hard there, I think, as the kids would say. So that was probably one of the quickest games this season, and I'm not sure why Moods was trying to do a 2 war factory rush on me, but it didn't work, and I just counter rushed him. So we'll jump in with the next series. Alright, we're back here for game 7 of 10 all in one day. This time we are up against Tux. Tux reminds me a lot of Happy when Happy was a wee teenager. I think the only difference is Tux probably not as good as Happy was back then, and Happy's smack talk was probably a little bit better. But, you know, Tux is still a good player, and actually he's probably not a player I really want to play super rusty when he's really on his game, just because he does have really good macro sense, and he'll just sit there, and then you'll attack into him, and he'll just have, kind of like how game 2 against Star went, where I attacked and he just had so much. That can easily happen with Tux, but once again, I get allies, so that means it's time for my quick tank build, because why not? We're on Scorched Earth 2 by Mega Tank, which I'll give Mega Tank some credit too. This map, like, looking at it, looks so much like Scorched Earth 1 that I couldn't quite think of the differences at first, and then I kind of realized there's one less ore patch. I think it's smaller, like, up to the north and south on Scorched Earth 1, but very similar, like, esque of a map, so Scorched Earth 2 definitely makes sense there, so I do like that. I do like when maps have, like, some continuity? Yeah, continuity. Just getting out my double ref army right now, protecting my old Derricks. Try to send out one little scout to the north, see if I can pick off an engineer. You never know which way people are going to go when there's 4 old Derricks in the middle. I think the way that actually went is probably worse. I'd rather go straight to, like, the top in the middle. That way you'll maybe be able to get defender's advantage there and catch somebody out, but I see that Tux does not have an engineer at his natural oil derrick, so that immediately cues me to send a rifle to scout, because something shenanigan like esque is going to happen when there is 4 oil derricks on that map and a hospital in the middle and 2 communication centers, and you don't see any infantry presence or anything from your opponent. That's generally a bad sign. That means they've either skipped War Factory, or I mean skipped a double ref army, or going for a War Factory or something like that, or they're just playing very conservatively for some reason, which is very crazy. So yeah, you definitely need to instantly scout that. That's a telltale sign that something weird's going on. And then I see some sandbags in the top left, that's fine, and I also see some no presence at this oil derrick, so I'm just going to be able to capture both. I'm going to poke that power plant just because that rifle's pretty much told me all I need to know. Sandbags means he's gone for no racks build. He's doing some type of War Factory rush. That's alright, because I'm going to do for the quick tank build, so there's really not much a War Factory Rush will do that will put me behind. He might have quicker tanks, but he'll have 0 army, and I'll have infantry, so he's going to lose there. If he goes for a quick MCV, then that's even more easier for me, since he'll have no tanks or army. So yeah, I'm just going to start queuing up my infantry. Since I'm going to have 4 ORA derricks, I'm pretty much going to be free to run my queues a lot sooner than I would be. And he finally kills my rifle up there, and I see a barracks too, so... yeah, Tux, I don't know what he was doing this time, but he's gonna run into a pretty anti-build against it. Once again, get that harvester across and a little bit further, since it is gonna take a little while for my ref to come down, and that's just gonna keep that harvester there. Probably would be okay having it on that back patch since there's a lot of ore there, but at the same time, like, again, this type of build is so eco-tight that the time it takes just for that harvester to come across is probably a little bit too long, would probably cause me to stall. Even with the extra 4 alerts, but you know, maybe again I did have a full alert, so probably was wrong in that account. But my second light tank is about coming out, and my SD is a little bit earlier than my ranger. That's fine. It just gives me a few seconds of breathing room before I have to move that MC and everything. And since Tux is doing some type of War Factory build, I don't have to worry about, you know, harassing him and keeping him pinned in with the light vehicles. I can really just kind of deathball. Maybe do some light harassment, but I'm more concerned about just overwhelming him as soon as I can. A little slow to push off my MCV here, and I should probably be on top of that, but Engineer is going to go all the way down and take that other communication center, because what are the odds that he has some Engineer out on this field late. Still hasn't had any presence in the middle, and that's totally fine. Finally get around to moving my MCV. Definitely could have been a lot quicker on it, but that's okay. Gonna poke in with my light ranger and scouting combo to see if there's anything new. I just see 3-4 harves, and that's kind of weird. I'm not sure why he would have so many harves, but still no infantry presence, so I'm just gonna have him poke there and just move in with my right side army, and that should be all I really need to close out this game. Finally see a bunch of his army showing up, and I see 2 light tanks. Fortunately, one of those light tanks very close to dying. That's okay. So Tux for some reason has like 6 harvesters, which is way too much for me. 7 harvesters, kind of weird. But he's got 1 light tank, and my medium tank has just now been taking shots, so I have way too much infantry numbers for him. Just have more infantry, and I can just keep pushing in. And I think had he saved some of those harvesters and used them to tank, he probably would have had a better engagement there, but killed off some of his infantry and finding some more of it. Unfortunately, the rocket killed that last medium tank, and 1 more rocket is barely going to track and kill that light tank. And I just really wanted to save it, but that's okay. Not even worried about expanding yet. Still have not had that ref down. I'm actually kind of slow now at 5 minutes. See that he had a second SV there too, or what appears to be a second SV, so just move away from there. He's got a lot of infantry, so I can't really move too far, but one of his medium tanks is going to go down, that's fine. I'm still killing a lot of his infantry, and I still have 1 more medium tank, so yeah, I'm just going to stay away from these pillboxes. I'm not sure if that's his second MCV, or if he just only has just 1 in there. But still see no harvesters there. Just gonna try to poke that light tank if I can and just kill that War Factory. It's probably his only War Factory, and if I can kill that, that'll be great. Engineer or my Ranger would rather scout up top, see if what he's got going on there. Tries to go in for some crush with the light tanks, but it doesn't work. And I still have 2 medium tanks alive, so yeah, I'm not sure what build Tux was doing, but it did not work out for him. His pillbox instantly gets placed down in front of me and dies, and he calls GG there, so yeah, that was a weird game by Tux, another very quick one. So we'll jump into the next one. Alright, so we're back here for game 2 against Tux. He originally tried to pick a snow map, but Fazar was here, so he ended up picking Pleasant Plains, which I'm totally okay with, because that is the build that I feel the most comfortable with, this quick tank build. So you can guess what I'm going to do, since I have allies. That is right, it's quick tank build time. Yeah, there's no reason to not build it if it's, I think I haven't lost yet with it. The only time I might have done it is against Fazar in game 1, but I'll strike that one from the record, just because, you know, literally first game in months, probably not the best time to do a new build on a new unfamiliar map. But same thing I always do right here, Engineer out, get some rifles out to protect it, just in case Tux goes for an early dogson with that, which again, I don't think Tux has ever done that, but he definitely has the ability to do it if he really wants to. And then afterwards, just rally that Engineer up to the top, so I have my top scouted. And then yeah, other than that, it's just gonna sit up, macro, wait for my tanks to come out, and then just hopefully steamroll. But we're never sure. But yeah, after I think this is game 8 of 10 in one day, definitely makes you feel warmed up, and I feel like my mechanical skills definitely improve over the course of all these games. Like I said before, not enough necessarily to break off all the rest, because you are, still not in the full rhythm, but 8 games in a day is definitely well on the road to feeling not rusty anymore. I don't know why I decided to do this, but I send off some early rifles, just 10 of them in the medic, and I kind of queue them up towards Tux's like other. That's really bad placement on that ref. And I have instantly slowed off because of it, but send them off early, and then I'm going to send some rockets down early. If I could just poke and maybe delay that ref on that second patch in his ore base, that it's 10-15 seconds of eco that he's behind, which is always nice, but I'm not expecting too much. If anything, I don't want to lose that army. I just really want to poke. So you have to be very careful about that. And I'm already doing such a tight build that if I do lose that early army, that could put me behind. Granted, it's more of a tank heavy army anyways, but just something to keep in mind if you're going to do something like really rushed about this, really aggressive. Don't do the full happy. Have some constrained aggression right there. Don't overly commit. That's what Happy used to do, but he actually has got a lot better at that recently. It's a very old school Happy, and new school Happy is a lot more controlled in his aggression. I think that's just because he's older. He doesn't have to be reckless, but send out those rockets. Send one rifle with him too, just in case they happen to run into a rocket or a rifle of the other guy. 4 rockets I think will beat a single rifleman, but you also probably lose 2 or 3 of them, so that kind of would defeat the whole purpose. 1 rifle there will just hopefully be able to win, especially since one of the rockets is probably going to take the first damage, but if they do get hit, I have the medic there, so they'll be able to get up to full speed, and that'll be fine. Send that harvester to the back of the ore mine, so it travels just a little bit longer and refills longer. That'll have it nice and neat for when that ref comes up, and start moving those infantry into position at the bottom. Really focusing on the ref, and perfect timing there. Even got my light tank coming out, so light tanks is going to help for some vision, maybe a little bit of damage soaking in case Tux has a pillbox ready, which is fairly common. I'm not very good at that, but I already see a harvester there and a poke in, and unfortunately there's a pillbox there, but it only got a rifle, so that's fine. And that's kind of what I mean by not over engaging. I could have gone in and hunted for that harvester a little bit more, even with the pillbox, and sacrificed all of that army for it, and probably wouldn't have got the harvester, so it wouldn't have been worth it. But now I'm just going to leave that army down there, queue up my tanks, move out that main MCV, which I think on the top is actually probably a little bit better for this build, just because you do have that extra cell on the bottom of the MCV, because they are 4x3 instead of 3x3. A little bit one of those balance quirks in this game that you can't really fix, but 3 barracks, 1 power plant, and ref, and that'll be all I need. And you can see I'm floating about 3k, so I could probably make this build a little bit tighter if I really wanted to, but a 2k, 3k float in OpenRA is pretty much nothing. That'll disappear quite quickly, especially once I have more Raxes out too. But got my first medium tank down. My ranger is scouting there, so I'm just gonna try to work around on the bottom. If Tux is smart, he'll have that scouted, and I'll have to back out or choose to go in further. That's always a gamble. But I'm gonna send my secondary army down there, see if I can poke on these harvesters some more, and that'll make me buy more time for that other base. Pillbox is still there, so that's alright too. So now I'll just use that ranger to scout up top, and he has a ranger scouting there too, so he's probably going to see that army coming. That's totally fine. At the same time, this bottom army is now in position, and probably going to get this harvester. I'm going to definitely dive now. This army is worth diving. He pulls the harvester away, but not far enough, and it goes down. And now I'm just going to try to trade out that army as much as I can, because now I see a lot of his armies down there. That means his expo is probably empty, which it is, although he does have some army going, so Tux is actually playing pretty well right now. I actually have to rotate away from his MCV and take out his army. Very light on the rockets, unfortunately for him, but I'm going to push through right there, but he's definitely buying himself some time. He's out trading pretty well. One of my mini tanks goes down, which is unfortunate, and I'll have to back out. But yeah, decent defense there by Tux, and my expansion is slowed down once again because I was too busy marketing, but that's going to happen constantly. That's alright, because I have plenty of money. I'm just now about running out, and then harvester is probably again once it's a little early, but that's just something to refine as I do this build more. And now I'm stalled, so that's not good at all. Moving that engineer because I'm not so worried about that plank anymore. Maybe I can do something later with him scouting and I'm trying to get something on there on the bottom. But I'm just going to rotate across his ore, get that harvester back on its ref. There you go. And see if I can go across his ore, kill his eco there. I know that he's down at least one harvester, or should be even with me now since I have typically one harvester less. And if I can kill another harvester, that's always good. That'll really hurt his eco, especially on a full patch like that. But because of this build, I don't really want to build more racks. I think 4 is fine, but second refinery on that patch is, not great for macro-wise, but, economically it's good. I see that he has an army waiting in the wings there, and I had killed that pillbox, so I don't want to engage into that. It means he's pretty much aware of it. And he makes an interesting decision here to engage out into the field with me. And, I'm happy to take this engagement. I don't have a whole lot of infantry there. I'm going to lose this battle for sure, but, I've killed, it looks like 3 tanks, and I sacrificed 2, so I know I have the take advantage already, and killing 3 of his tanks is even better. Because I didn't have such early success this time, I built a quicker MCV, and I'm already moving it out. I'm more concerned with the macro on the army side rather than eco after this, but controlling that ore patch is going to be important. I don't want to lose it just to him trying to out macro me and take the field advantage that way. But starting to get my defense queued up. I'm waiting for an attack over here on the top. Just got to get my tanks on the front. And this tank in the back killed an engineer, and then was poking as harvesters and got harassed a bit, so I'm just bouncing it back and forth. Nothing too crazy right there. See if I can just find this army that he moved out, but it looks like he's either on a deep flank that I've completely missed, which would be really good if he actually hit me, or he moved it back to his base, which is probably more likely. Check to see if he expanded again to the top, and that is not the case, so now I'm just going to retreat this army back since he had a good scout there. Once again, his army's still sitting in the middle of his base, but that mini tank served its purpose. Just going to run it all the way out. Still haven't seen any attack on my side, so I'm just going to deathball. Move this MC a little bit closer, get that ref out there. And yeah, I think once I deathball, I should have a pretty good advantage. I'll have 6 tanks, should definitely have at least 2 more on him. Got another ref out since I was starting to slow down in the eco department, but should be more than I need. And I'm just going to keep, aggressively expanding with his MCV. MCV is, my main base is probably going to stay there for the rest of the time unless I move out across after I can control more than 50% of the map. It's just in a great position where I can still place that pillbox, buy that ref, and cover that one spot. See a lot of his army up there on the top, so that means he probably just expanded there. Fortunately for me, that medium tank is going to get survive and get around, so that's good too. And once again, I am still somehow stalling. Not sure how. I feel like I should have plenty of money at this rate since I'm expanded twice and I have quite a lot of harvesters on there. Kind of a bad engagement right here. That little debris piece had my tank go all the way around, but unfortunately for Tux, he just had no tanks in front either. So once my tanks do get in the front, I'm going to have a really good engagement here. And he's trying to rotate on the bottom a little bit, but again, I have that medium tank sneakily behind that medium little tree. Even blends in with the color of my tank, but yeah, Tux is in now, and he's in a pretty bad spot. He's got 1 medium tank left, 1 kind of out of the way, and I'm going to start base pushing him with a turret into his core field, so that's going to hurt him too. But I have more than enough to keep pushing in there. He runs the MCV away, so I'm not super worried about it. I don't think I can kill it in time, but I will try to kill out his army as much as I can. He runs that medium tank away, and I have 3 more tanks in the back of my infantry queue. I forgot about it, and it stalled out. That's not great, but that's alright. I'll deal with it in a second. I got my turret down, so that medium tank is long for this world, and the second medium tank shows up, which is still not long for this world. Send those 2 tanks back because I have 4 waiting in reserves, and yeah, I'm just going to kill a bunch of Tux's power and buildings because why not? I know I can't push in too far in case he has his MC moving back up, but I know that he expanded at the top, and that's alright. I'm just going to try to kill off his eco in his natural expansion right there. 1 harvester already going down, and I see that his army is coming in running behind me, so I'm just going to try to focus on these harvesters as best I can. There's 4 of them there. I've already killed 2 of them, so that's great. Those infantry is for sure going to die, and there's not much I can do about that. Best I can do is just put them on a stock command and hope they trade out decently on the way out, but I get a 3rd harvester, and those 2 medium tanks are just going to run to the bottom now since they serve their purpose. And I have 6 more waiting in the back, plus those 2 that I sent back earlier on the SD, so I've also killed the harvester with that turret in the bottom, so Tux's eco is pretty much shot at this rate. He's at least down 4 or 5 harvesters. He has the 1 expansion in the north that I know about that I haven't really scouted, but I saw his army there, so he likely has the expansion. And he's still chasing me with that army, so I'm just going to run those medium tanks out through the bottom, since medium tanks are so damn fast and so hard to deal with. see that MCV on the top, and I'm just trying to place these pillboxes real quick. Focus off the pillbox of his, because why not? Then I'll try to get that MC, but he's going to run away. That's totally fine. I'll just switch to an assault move, kill those power plants again, because that's going to put him low power. Meanwhile, I'm tier 2, going to get some helipads out. And then I change my mind, and I'm going to go for the Quick Tanya, because Quick Tanya is always good. Those 2 medium tanks get back, so once again, right back to the SD. That's a good sign. That generally knows that I'm thinking like properly. Another turret there, just to really shore up that defense, and Tux is going to be in a pretty bad position. He sells off that ref, so I just check to see if he moved across to the lower patch, which is kind of likely. You know, he's going to need that eventually, but I see that he is not there. That's unfortunate for him, because that means I'm just going to move after I place his pillbox. No? Maybe I thought, I could have swore I moved my main MC to take more than that, but maybe I'm thinking of a different game. But it's just deathballing now. I have so many medium tanks. My unit retention on tanks was actually probably a key part that helped me win this. I mean, Tux played pretty well to stop the early rush, but he was definitely behind and never really caught up. He's basically sitting on one base right now. He might have his natural expansion again, but I'm going to have a wall of tanks about to show up in his face, and that's always a sign that you're about to lose when there's 10 plus tanks showing into your face. But I'm just waiting for things to get up. Got my tech center out, very close for Tanya, so she can get out nice and quickly. In fact, I'm probably going to wait for Tanya just because I know that's probably going to swing the battle for me. I already got the armor advantage. If I can kill his infantry with my Tanya too, that'll be really good. Plus I have that little secondary army showing up, but I move in. Tux has a few pillboxes to the north. Just judging where that pillbox went down, it means his MCV is once again across. And I see his army out in the open field. That's fine. I'll gladly take an engagement right there, and I'm just gonna pretty much get my tanks in front, prevent him from trying to get your crushes, which, you know, I think had my tanks not been in front, he could maybe got some decent crushes there, but Tanya shows up just in time for him to say GG, and down goes Tux for game 8 of 10. That was not a bad game for Tux, honestly. His early defense, you know, showed that my quick tank build isn't like completely unstoppable. I still think my tank build did a lot of damage, especially just that little detachment that I had with the light tanks on the bottom. Killed the harvester, trade out some of his infantry and armor, and yeah. So that'll be it for this week. We'll see y'all next time.